I'm Mac Bogert, and I'm here representing Humanity at Work, which is part of Beauty and the Beast Publishing. And with me are three people who are interns at Beauty and the Beast Publishing, which I think is just very, very cool. So if someone wants to go first, or I can call on people and just tell us very briefly what brought you here to intern at Beauty and the Beast. All right, Erdem,
Okay.
go first.
All right. So what brought me here is I was actually working a full-time job regarding this cultural specialization strategist. And we were actually, I was trying to create this harmonious work environment. And it was going great, but I'm a literature major and I always wanted to do something in publishing. Where I'm from, Turkey, where I'm from, it's quite hard to get into publishing houses. So I was like, it was just for a second. It's just I was looking through stuff as I used to do, and it just popped right in front of me. I was like, okay, fate, like it must be fate, right? I wasn't looking for it. It just popped right there. I was like, all right, like this is my chance. Like it's my calling. It's happening. It's my time now. Let's try it. Why not?
Well, I was excited, but I'm usually excited. But I was excited to hear you're from Turkey. Turkey. This is from Cappadocia.
Yeah.
And I was in Turkey for 17 days, and I just loved it. It was a while ago.
Oh.
Things were a little more democratic, shall we say?
Yeah.
So thank you, Emily. Would you?
Yeah, of course. So I'm an English literature student. I'm a second year at university in England, in York. And I guess the thing that brought me here is because I've always known I wanted to work in publishing or writing or journalism, something like that, kind of one of the creative fields. And I was always, on LinkedIn looking at various different sort of applications and things like that. And I did an internship previously to this, which was only sort of a 2-week work experience, and that was a good experience, helping me kind of realize that it's something I wanted to pursue. And then when I saw Beauty and the Beast pop up on my screen, as Erdem said, it was a kind of, I thought, oh, this looks amazing, I have to apply. And then it only got better from there. So I had my interview with Shara, and she was telling me about all the opportunities I would be able to do with the company. And, I could write a book and I could put in all of these other skills that I'd been working on. And I remember actually phoning my mum immediately afterwards. And I said, it's way too good to be true. There must be a catch. And yeah, that's how I ended up here.
Thank you. And you sent me one of your poems, which I enjoyed immensely. And I'm as shy as you are about this, so I've not yet sent you one of mine, but I will. I promise I will do that soon. Let me see who hasn't spoken.
That would be great.
Go for it.
Okay, so I'm a sixth form student in Northwest England, and I've always been kind of interested in writing. Like I've written a few pieces before I started on like my first book like a couple of years ago and stuff. And then to be honest, it was kind of like word of mouth. Like my mum, who's a graphic designer, she like has connections with Beauty and the Beast. So she sent me to their website and I found the internship, and I was like, this is exactly like what I want to do, because I don't actually know exactly like specifically what I want to do as a job, but it just seems so perfect to get like all areas of publishing. Yeah.
Fabulous. There's a fellow named Ben Zander who just retired. He was the conductor of the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra, then the Boston Children's Philharmonic Orchestra. And he talks about something he calls shining eyes. And he said, when I look at the eyes of my orchestra, if I don't see their eyes shining, I get to ask myself a question: who am I being that the eyes of my orchestra are not shining? And I'm seeing, because I'm not looking at myself, I'm looking at you. So I'm seeing 6 shining eyes. And one of the things I believe is that we don't have to lose that. I see a lot of people who have been in the workforce for a long time and they're not shining anymore. So, as I threatened originally, my question is, other than money, which we all acknowledge, and that's true, I get that, but let's just set that aside. I know that's hard, but let's do that. And other than that, what is it? And you may have already answered this, but let's drill down a little bit. What is it that you want from work? I mean, we spend about a third of our lives at work. That's a lot. Other than sleeping, that's probably the main thing. So what do you want emotionally, spiritually, sense of self-wise from work, part of your life? And what don't you want?
Mm-hmm.
So
I start again?
I wouldn't try to stop you, brother. Go.
All right. So, well, to me, I'm a neurodivergent. So like repetition would be like my nemesis in life, which, work life, it's usually what that is. Like it binds you into this routine, and you can't be free enough to think for yourself, be creative enough. And that's exactly what drives me, like creativity, this self of like this right of expression and this right of freedom that you get, which my teammate said, that's what's what's best about this program that we're in. And that's what was offered to us as well, like the space and the freedom to be as like free you can be with your creativity, with your imagination, which is the one thing that I'm actually looking for in life general, with my work as well. And what I'm not looking for is this repetition, this stuckness, this sameness, that monotonous, because it's going to be, I know it's going to be my end someday. So that's just like, that's why it's a jam. That's like my thing.
And part of what I'm seeing in the way you move and the way you use your body, as well as hearing, is you were talking about this, but you're also talking about this.
Exactly. Yeah.
And perhaps you can do that.
Yeah.
Because I think
go. I mean, that's actually I'm giving the opportunity here. So I know that like I have this empty free road ahead, and hopefully I can manage it and I can use it well. And I've got a great team with me as well. So I'm quite lucky, and I don't want to jinx it, but
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't want to go in the same order because that's too much like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, Maariya.
I think from work, I always say that I don't want, like you said, it's like a third of your life, basically 9 to 5 every day you're working. And I don't want to have a job that I don't want to dread getting out of bed in the morning. I always say that whenever anyone asks me, like, what do you want? I always say, I want to actually be excited to get out of bed, because I feel like there's no point doing a job that you enjoy when that is primarily your life. Like, it's such an important thing to me that you enjoy your work.
Why not? Why not? Who hasn't gone? Emily.
That would be me.
I guess it would be.
I think Erdem stole my first answer, which was creativity. I love being able to make something. I know that when I chose to study English, it's not a kind of vocational degree. It's not like law or medicine or something like that leads into a very clear path. And a lot of people are kind of like, oh, what do you do with English? And I find myself defending my degree a lot of the time. But I think one of the beautiful things about it is the possibilities that it gives you. So, I don't know what I want to do, and I kind of like that, and the idea that I don't have to do the same thing every day is exciting to me. And I think the thing that drew me to this internship in particular, in terms of their working environment, was just the kind of
You just froze and dropped out for a second. Let's see when you come back.
And things that I want to do outside of work and things like that. And I think the fact that I would like a job that can kind of recognize that and see people as, you know, human beings as opposed to just these machines that churn out, you know, whether it's books or I don't know, whatever job you're in. Yeah.
Well, I have two questions for you, which I didn't have before, so I'm not popping them on you without warning, but they came to me as
That's
we were
okay.
talking. Yeah, I mean, you got to watch talking with me because you never know what I'll ask next. I appreciate your candor and I appreciate your shining eyes. I mean, it's such a treasure. You know, you're at a social event and you meet somebody for the first time. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm fine. What do you do? And they say, oh, I'm a lawyer, or I'm in real estate, or I'm in government, or I'm an English major, or, you know, they like talk about their role and their title. So we're at a party and we're all meeting for the first time. And I ask you, what do you do? And let's talk about giving a qualitative answer rather than a job answer. For instance, if you ask me what I do, I would say something like, pretty much whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd say, yeah, but what do you do? And I'd say, well, I don't have a title. That's what I do. So what might be an answer that you would be comfortable when somebody asks you, what do you do? That's not a title or a profession. Because what you said, Emily, about an English major, I was an English major too, and a history major, and I loved it. But unless you're going to be a teacher, right, you don't get a job from those things.
Yeah.
So who would like to go first? How would you identify yourself about like who you are and what you do? Go, Emily.
I mean, for me, it's even when someone asks me, what do you do in an English degree? I kind of say everything, every subject, because, you know, within my degree, I study history and politics and philosophy and religion and everything. And then outside of that, I write and I learn and I, you know, I play music, I play the piano, I read. So I have all these, you know, other hobbies that kind of, I think, enrich me as a person more than, you know, just my label as a student or whatever that is.
Thank you.
Maria, do you want to, or should I?
You can go.
All right. Well, what I would like to say, I mean, it comes true. Like, I maybe like make dreams a reality and make reality imaginary, right? That would be something I would like to say, because that's what I want from life, right? So I would like to do that for others as well.
Thank you. And
So because I study like art classics and philosophy, so I'd say like I indulge myself in different ways of thinking about the world and like history and also the future. Because I think it's really important to do that as well. Like people like Emily said, people always say, what are you going to do with that? But for me, it's just like, it's really, really interesting to look at history and the way people thought then, and then compare it to now, and then compare it to the future. Yeah.
well, let's imagine that I'm a different kind of older person. And I'm the kind of older person who goes, wow, you're so naive. You kids these days just don't have a work ethic. Who do you think you are? Life is tough. That, you know, the kind, obviously, you know, the kind of person I'm talking about. So how would you answer that what you just shared, which I think is really important, is immature, impractical, you know, those things? And how would you come back at that? And I don't mean necessarily to punch the person or something, but in your heart and in your head, how do you counter that argument?
Should I go?
Absolutely.
So I would say, like, if it's just an older person and if somebody I am mediating with, I would probably say, like, I understand and I might be naive, and I understand that you have a valid point of view because that's how it was done, and that's how you experienced it, and you know it works. And maybe that's how it's going to be working for me as well. But let me figure it out on my own, and let me try to pave a road for myself, and let me try this way. Maybe it will be something that will I experience the same way you did that, and maybe I will make it happen. You know, maybe that might be that naive idea. I will make it happen, and I will turn into this hard work ethic that you are clinging to. And maybe that's going to be like working smart and working instead of working hard, or maybe like working in that mindset would be much efficient for me. It will lead me to heights of success that you know, maybe you haven't seen before. Will you let me do that at least? Like, will you let me try? That's what I would say, probably.
Very cool, man. Now, you two aren't off the hook.
Shall I go? Or? Okay. I think if someone came to me with that kind of approach, which I would argue is quite a closed-minded approach to work. I mean, obviously it's a generational difference, which is not something you can just say, you know, you're wrong to them. But I think I would argue that maybe, you know, being young and being naive and not having experienced the workplace and become set in my ways is actually a kind of a benefit for the workplace, and that I can approach it with a kind of new set of eyes. You know, if you don't have new people coming in all of the time with their own ideas and perspectives and their different ways of looking at the world, then nothing would ever change and nothing would ever improve. And I think progress in terms of our society is based on, you know, bringing something new and bringing something that is perhaps a little bit naive at first, and which kind of grows from that, and doesn't necessarily come with kind of these rigid perspectives or views about things.
Those are two hard acts to follow. What you got?
I'd say, like, I think the good thing about us is that we have some sort of ambition, because we know that, like, of course, like maybe our publishing sector is getting a lot smaller as like time goes on and there's more like importance put on like maths and sciences and stuff. But I think that we getting into this sector means that we have our own ambition, and that's something that can never like that's something that like is always valuable, because it means that you know you will get somewhere and that there is definitely a use for it. But yeah.
All right, here's my final question. Okay, you're significantly older and you've had children. And I don't know if you want to have children or not. Let's just pretend. Not only have you had children, you've had grandchildren. Whoa, I know. I'm looking at three very shocked faces right now. So your grandma or grandpa or whatever the title will be, and your children are talking to their grandchildren about you, which they will, whether you want them to or not, of course. And your children ask their children, your grandchildren, how would you describe how grandma or grandpa approached work? And what would you like your grandchildren to say about how they saw you and how you approached work?
Good question.
Oh my.
I mean, I think I'd want them to say that like I approached it with a level of like energy, and like, if that makes sense, like
Yeah.
I want to be optimistic about what I can do, and I want that to like kind of come through in what I do. That makes no sense, but yeah, like yeah.
Very cool.
I mean, I suppose for me, I'd want my grandchildren to say that I approached it with creativity, that I always strove to do something that I enjoyed and something that kind of stimulated me, and for me, that is creating something. And I hope that they would see that as an example to them as well. I hope that they would be able to kind of take that mindset of being creative and expressing your individuality in the workplace. I hope that they would be able to use that themselves. But I also hope that they could learn from that it's okay for them to have different opinions as well. And, you know, they'd obviously be 2 generations on from me, and I'm sure everything will have changed again by then. And I'll probably be that old person saying, oh, you know, all this 3D virtual reality stuff is just, I don't know, whatever's been invented then.
Excellent.
Well, I must say that I've never thought about how people would like to, you know, describe me. That's quite a fear of mine, maybe. But I probably would like to be known, especially from my kin. It was for all of us. Like, he was working, yes, but I understood what he was doing. You know, it was something that excited me as well, not just him. And he shared that with us. And it was something that he grew as, like, it was something that made him grew as a person, which also, you know, leaked onto us as well. And I would rather like them getting, you know, not used to, but getting something off the things that I'm doing, so that, because it's the cumulative thing, right? I'm here and my parents were here, so I've learned a lot from their jobs, and I would like for like my children and their children to learn a lot from me as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What a pleasure. Part of why I love doing this is I never know what is going to happen. I never know. And I've been on the other side where I was sent all these questions ahead of time, and, you know, it was all like, it was like this, like, and I was like, just take me now, please kill me. I hate this. I really appreciate what I just gained from all 3 of you about perspective and about work. And as soon as Shara told me a little bit about each of it, she just told me this much. She didn't blow any confidentiality. I was like, oh boy, oh boy. And I think I was right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know how to get in touch with me. I will let you know when this is, I don't think I have a whole lot of mixing to do, but when this is mixed and ready to go, I will send you the URL and all that kind of stuff. And then it will be posted. And I know it's hard to watch yourself on a screen. There are worse things. There are worse things. Any final thoughts?
Just thank you so much for the kind of opportunity. It's been a really interesting conversation, and I've thought about, you know, what my grandchildren would say about me. It's not something I've ever really thought about before, but
yeah, I think also, like, we talk every day, but we usually do not talk about these, so it's quite interesting to, you know, convey regarding these matters.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna get on to the next thing, and you haven't seen the last of me.
Great.
that's good.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.